Here, we're already recording.
Well, it's actually his speech that I wrote him.
Oh,
You wrote it?
She has a better memory.
This is turning out.
now that I understand.
Never imagined.
I think it would have been more surprising if he had actually written it. I wrote all the
Well, that's true. That is true.
What did you do? The outline, and then she filled it in. Did you really?
An outline.
And I wrote it.
Well, go ahead, John. Tell us your story.
Selfie.
Oh, we don't get to do mine.
No, we
You-
want yours.
We want yours. Go
Your
ahead.
story of when you met Chuck.
When I met Chuck and Hornaz and Randy that same day, and Heather. First started working at your old place that was off of
We were at 3200 Crowsdale, and we were
Crowsd-
also at Front Street. So we were at Crowsdale first, and we were at Front Street.
well, this was off of what's the place in the front?
Hillendale.
Hillendale.
Yeah,
So whatever that was,
That
might
was
have been
Front
Front
Street.
yeah.
I didn't
You could've
remember.
got to Crowsdale.
But I wasn't there very long before we moved into over at wherever you are now, Colony.
Okay.
And so I remember the quietest person I ever met in a place like that was Chuck. I would talk to him and he would say, yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a yeah or nay type of question. It was, I'd ask him a question about something and, or ask Hornaz. I heard that a lot.
Ask for
Is that right? Is
I
that
don't
right?
remember this at all. My memory's really bad.
That I remember. That was just in the first couple of days, and then Randy was upset about something, and I remember he left soon after that. But I remember that's when you and I started talking a lot more because of I was doing a lot of the network stuff then, back on Netware
Novell.
2.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Back in the early days.
Yeah, it was 1.4, I think, is when I started.
It was a long time ago. But
We had probably ArcNet. I bet we had ArcNet.
yeah, I think we did at that time. I do think that.
Getting into SFT.
No.
During that time, you rode your bicycle to work.
Did you really? Were you still living in your van?
I would drive the van to work on Monday with a bike in it, and then I would drive the bike back and forth to work until Friday, and then take the van home.
I did not know that.
And the first time I ever heard about your bike,
So that was nice.
The bike did?
Shower.
Oh, okay,
How
I was
are you
like,
doing that?
shower.
I didn't know that.
the
Wow.
first time I ever heard about your bike, I was wondering, well, what kind of motorcycle was he riding?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, right.
No, he sold that when
I asked, and he said he no longer had one.
when I got pregnant.
But that's when I found out that he did have one, and that you used to go riding with him.
Did you really?
I think that was probably
My dad brought one
time,
home.
and it turned into I used
Several
to go
times.
riding with him.
Yeah, we got some confirmation.
Everybody, we're all going down.
So, Chuck, how did it start
Jump in.
Yes.
when you and Tom first met? Why did you hire him
Why did
to
I
begin
hire-
with? He was the first hire, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No?
Sonia was the first hire. Sonia was the first hire.
She was
Right.
working.
And she's
Okay.
sick tonight. That's why they're not here.
Oh.
She would have been here.
Yeah, because I saw that she was on the accepted list, that she had accepted the invitation.
Somebody
No,
accepted
Chuck was
then
working
the
as a
detective.
consultant for what other
Somebody went
name of
back and
that
forth on
company
their
was?
responses.
Basic
Oh,
or-
well, they just told me today, but.
What you hired me to do?
No, when you were working, you were consulting for that company.
Micah,
Micah.
Micah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was a permanent job.
that's in his speech.
Okay.
Okay, which, don't
we
don't
wanna
jump
know
the
your
gun,
story.
dear.
Why I hired you? Well, we knew you from Crescent,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
in the speech.
it was
Okay.
Maybe we should start with the
I think,
speech.
we had an application that we needed some help on, and I knew you
Law
had this.
school.
Even though you did, yeah, we had you on. Was it law school? Your
Yeah.
record system?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a
Yeah, but had
temporary
you
job,
done-
he said.
Had you done any
Yeah.
programming? Because you were an accountant. You were.
No.
No, he. Yeah.
College.
I just hired him on the. He looked like he would do good work.
We mostly hired people who didn't know what they were doing.
That's because the whole interview process
I
was,
told him.
yeah?
I told him I programmed in PL1 and Fortran. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
PL1 and Fortran. I never even knew that. That's where I started.
With the cards.
PL1 Fortran, yep,
Read
cards.
your speech, honey. Because the speech is
Keep
all-
punching.
This is all in the speech. Gonna remind everybody.
Sounds like it's
You
time for
wanna
the
hear
speech.
It's time for the speech, obviously.
We don't know. He seemed like a nice guy, you know. I mean,
Seemed like
No,
it.
and that was, yeah, I mean, so, I won't say anymore because I do have some prepared things.
All right, does anyone else
This is
who, we don't want to ruin his speech.
improvisational.
Yeah, this is just, what do the kids remember about growing up with him going to Droege?
What was your first day your dad came home from Droege Computer? What was that like? Do you remember?
Joshua was 5. Is that right? When did you hire him?
87.
87.
yeah.
Yeah. So
There was a general
5.
feeling of elation in the house that there was finally a paycheck. I think.
Yeah.
And then we didn't have to go with you on your paper route.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bet that's in the speech though, right?
That's in the speech,
Okay,
too.
we'll leave that alone.
That's what I remember from Robin saying, well, he gets a regular paycheck. I'm like, okay.
Those are important things. All right, anyone else?
I do remember something about the first retreat.
Ah.
Do y'all remember where it was?
I was wondering
Yeah.
what our first one was.
The water wheel up in the
Yeah,
mountains.
In
yeah,
Boone,
yeah,
yes,
Boone. Yeah,
in
we still
Boone.
go by there.
Yeah.
We were down by there
We had
just last
toddlers.
weekend.
Well,
Yeah.
not toddlers.
That's right.
Joshua was about 4. No, he would have been about 5. 'cause
What year was he born?
He was born in
82.
82.
Okay.
And
All right.
so, and the Hoxties,
Yeah.
maybe
Yep.
had
Yep.
Tara.
Yeah,
Okay, so anyway,
yeah.
we
I have
were
a
at,
picture from that retreat.
so we were at dinner, and you know the kids. We
They
just
put us
got
in a
there.
room
And,
someplace else where no one
yeah,
could
we're
see.
downstairs somewhere. It's just us. And so Joshua ordered a hot dog. You know, he's 5, 6, or whatever. So it was like 2 hours before we got
It's a
our
long
meal.
time. Yeah, it's a long time.
And so all the kids are melting down.
We're recreating it now.
Sounds like some of our drogy dinners.
2 hours
Sounds like some of our
before we
drogy dinners.
Right.
Joshua
Note this, Joshua. This is the tradition in the
Where's
Droege
my hot
community.
dog?
order arrived, and she whispered, we ran out of hot dog buns, but I went ahead and cut the hot dog up onto the hamburger bun. And so I
You
said,
don't tell a 4-year-old that, right?
okay. And so she handed him, Joshua goes, what's this?
I'm not eating that.
But it's a hot dog inside. That's not a hot dog, it's a hamburger. I wanted a hot dog.
Funnily enough, that's actually how I eat hot dogs now.
No, is that right? Are you serious?
Yeah.
There we go. There we have it.
That's funny.
I'm not
We
sure
were
what
trying to
therapists on
count
TV
up all the retreats. And I was thinking, were we in the mountains 4 times?
A lot.
No
At
idea.
least,
They
at
were
least 4. At least
And
4.
Lake-
At least 4.
Like Lure,
We went there more than the
Three
beach.
or 4,
Yeah. And Wintergreen.
Wintergreen
A few times.
several times.
Yeah.
And then Glade Springs.
Yeah, the Glade Springs was
Yeah,
at least
went to Glade
twice.
Springs a couple of times. Went to the coast a couple of times.
Yeah.
Not
The
as
first one
many.
was blockade. Yeah, the first coast one was blockade.
We did Lake Lure
we
one
did
time
that.
too.
Yeah.
We did Lake Lure
Yeah.
because of that
Yeah.
boat ride.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny.
Any place else besides the mountains and the coast?
We're still waiting for the cruise.
Yeah.
So are we.
Right, yeah, right.
We'll let everyone know. Keep
Well,
your-
at one point,
keep a valid
okay,
email
here's
address.
No, at some point I told Tom, I said, well, maybe at some point we can do like a adults only. But then the Matthews kept having children.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And so we were like, well, that's not fair.
Oh,
So
No,
Cora,
seriously,
Cora
that-
is
we
how
did
old?
Pisca.
19 months.
yeah.
So,
So,
you know, we-
19 months to 26 years old, right?
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Robin says when she grows up, well, no, the rest of us will not be here at that point. But no, I did say that to Tom a couple of times, like, oh, maybe we should do like an adults only retreat. And he's like, yeah, but the Matthews. Oh yeah, okay. No, it's been so much fun. It's been so much fun, though. It really has been.
Yeah.
Seeing everybody's kids grow up from that time. Yeah, it's been really neat to
Remember,
see.
Your kids are so much fun at Pisco. That was great.
Oh, yeah, the dude
Seeing
ranch.
Emma on the horse.
Yeah, on the
The,
horses.
I tell you, the one that my kids had the most fun at was the ones with the slingshot paintball or whatever. The water balloons.
Asheville.
The water
We went to
balloon
Asheville once.
slingshots.
Yeah,
Oh
we
my.
went to Asheville. Yeah.
Slingshot, probably a 4-foot slingshot, right? And they have a wooden board like this across. So you pull this,
Yeah, that was
and it
outside of
hit the
Asheville.
wood, and it bang! And the
Yeah.
kids were down there
Yeah.
all the time. Oh, that was great. And they were the kind of round houses.
Yeah, well,
They
this
were,
was
some of them,
Yeah.
some of them were round.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That was my kids' favorite.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Yeah, they were the right ages at that time. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's neat for me to think about you guys with little ones melting down.
Because I mean, our kids are about this, kind of the same age, and
Yeah.
Sonia and Craig's kids were about the same age. Yeah.
Do y'all, do you remember the retreat, Troy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also remember when I was in middle school, I would ask I think I probably asked him a couple times because I was just like interested in, oh, these adults, you know, they just have these lives, I don't know about it. And this is sort of similar to what John was saying earlier, but I was like, so do you like your life, Dad? Do you like your job? And he'd be like, yeah. Yeah, dude.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
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 There it is. There it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
So when I grew up, and I was, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, my parents had friends in the neighborhood, and we met a lot of times, and they had kids, and my 2 sisters and their kids would go off and play, and I would stay in the room with the adults in the corner and listening to their conversations and never talk. Because I liked listening to adults talk.
Seen and not heard. Children were supposed to be seen and not heard.
And I still do that. I sit in the corner and listen.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
So we need to invite you back to any future retirement parties because you've got the real deal on everybody.
Joshua and Joy worked at Droege. That's an employee reunion.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Joy did
I
a
have
lot
a
of
feeling
good
there
stuff.
were more employee children that worked at Droege than adults
Adults.
that worked at Droege. Yes, for sure.
Was this scanning stamps?
Yes, yes, scanning.
And actually, yeah, Courtney and Erica, and they were also working in the eBay department,
Oh, yeah.
by the way, and so I have to
Yeah.
bring them out here and
Our kids did,
join in the...
their kids did, yeah.
Yeah, we came in at the tail end of that. We didn't get a whole lot of action there. Brock and
Tommy,
Tommy.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Tommy and Brett did
Oh, they spent a summer like.
150,000 scans.
Well, there was a scanning department and the eBay department. There was 2 different things. But, yeah. So Joy, tell us when you and Joshua first worked at Droege Computing. What did you do? Did both of you work there at some point?
Stuffed envelopes.
Stuffed envelopes. Okay, well that.
Yeah, it was great.
I actually
mean,
started programming first, and then I think they realized he's not very good at this.
Oh.
So here's some stamps to scan. Just stay in this room, and then Bill's going to come in occasionally and fart, and you're going to wonder, did he do that like without realizing it?
I was
Well, we
really
have more
disappointed
stamp
that
work
Bill and
if you
Judy
want to
could
Every
not
third
come
time you get a giggle out of him.
Oh my God,
We just
the
started giggling.
legacy.
I remember the first time
unfortunately.
it happened, I was sitting at the computer, and he came into the copier, and I just heard, and I was like, thinking like he was going to turn to me and be like, and he didn't. And he just walked out of the room after that. Like, Dad, does he know? And he was like, yeah, I'm not really sure.
When we were at ACMI, it seemed like there was a WAV file that would go off about every 20 seconds.
What?
And I wasn't sure
yeah.
whether it was tied to his errors occurring or whether he was trying to mask other things going on.
Dear. It's part of Chuck's
Like
speech,
Dwayne.
I'm sure.
Not if Robin wrote it. No.
I would not have written that.
You're too Scratch that bullet point.
Yeah, y'all can laugh, but wait till you start having tolerance issues, then you can.
So Blair is a former employee who returned recently.
Yes,
We're bringing them out of retirement.
Oh,
Beware,
so you're actually back. Oh.
I'm a bit at a disadvantage because it was so long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some good conversations recently. Yeah, you were pretty quiet, I think. But I think I was kind of quiet
Yeah.
too for the most part.
Those days have changed for both of
So
you.
you had like a quiet office.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I remember one thing, Chuck. You would never, ever purposefully touch Bill's keyboard.
Oh, that was all of us. That wasn't just Chuck. That was all of us.
Yeah, I think he warned me about it one time when I was going over there to type on the thing, and I looked at it and I said, no, I got another
It
keyboard.
started with apples. I think he was like,
he used apples.
Yeah, if
And
you ever
all the juice would go on the keyboard.
oh, it was
and all
just,
the dust.
oh, it was just.
if you ever forgot
nasty.
your lunch, there was always plenty of food there.
Oh, it was nasty. That's his fault for not being here. So.
That's right, we can talk about him easily.
All want, right? Right.
He was invited.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, let's do
That'd be
that.
great. All right, we'll do that.
Yeah.
This is our, wait, we have to introduce you. This is Courtney Smith.
Hey,
She's our
Hey.
caterer tonight. Her company, Peary.
Yes.
With her sister Erica. And we've known her since she was like 10. I know.
You did
Grew up with
the
us.
party at the big place over there off of.
Yeah, at Tom's 60th birthday.
yes,
yes,
it is.
yes.
That was us.
And Courtney and Erica actually worked in the eBay department too. That's
That's
right.
right. Yeah,
right.
yeah. You
I
guys.
think it was Eric and Cassie. But
Oh, was
yeah.
it Eric and Cassie?
But you
Okay.
knew immediately that eBay was
Okay,
not
yeah.
where you
It
wanted
was
to be.
a Smith
So it was
girl.
good.
No, I knew I don't have the chops for it. My talents are cooking, not cooking.
Oh, she's an awesome cook. Yes, yes. You can go ahead and set out the,
Okay,
the
all right.
next course. All right, thank you, Courtney.
y'all.
Who wants to take some dishes home?
Yeah, we'll probably do that. Are we gonna stay out here? I
All right.
guess is the question.
If no one else has anything,
Well, I've got a story about Chuck. I
uh-oh.
mean, I spent a few years with him. But after a few years and getting more comfortable with Chuck, it took about 3.5 years probably.
Who's that?
But we
I'm
got,
trying to say he's the most recent, but actually,
You know.
Blair's been the most recent.
but
so.
I've hit the age where I tend to giggle at myself going, man, that was stupid. And then he'd hear me giggle and go, what's that? And so instead of like stupid pet tricks, I would say, you won't believe how stupid I was, like coding, I did this thing wrong. And, and I should have caught it. I tend to do the hard stuff right and the simple stuff I miss. But we would tell each other little things that were stupid. It's like, hey, you got to hear this. This was so dumb. I don't believe what I did. So a few years ago, those simulated Post-its they'd have on the computer. They'd have the, and so Chuck would use those as a reminders of different things he had, work related or who to pray for or whatnot. I do read. I tend to be on list quite a bit. But Chuck was giggling one time because guess what, Doug? I'm like, what? He's like, he went to click and close one of those Post-it notes, but it was an actual real Post-it note. And after a few tries, he was like, it's not going away.
They had the Post-it little app that you could use.
Yeah, the little sticker
I had
app,
that
right.
there that I kept track of people
Sticky
when they were in the
notes.
office and stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
I was
yeah.
answering the phone a lot. I had Tom in, Tom out, whatever.
Yeah.
And,
Who knows?
and then I tried to close it, and it wouldn't close.
There's no little X on the corner, right?
No X on it.
That's similar to the days some years ago when we went around and put Post-it notes under everyone's mouse.
Yeah,
No
you
one
did
knew
that.
either.
No one else did. That was good. That was good.
Oh.
Only I can play practical jokes on you, because I don't want anyone playing the practical joke on me.
Well, I played a practical joke on him once. So I told James, I said, go in there, and when Tom logs onto his computer, play a Barry Manilow song.
No. Oh, no.
He hates Barry Manilow, obviously. So yeah, it was like, Koopa, what's going on here?
Wasn't a big fan of the Carpenters either. Remember the robbery? And y'all had to replace my CD that was in my drive at the time, and it was the Carpenters' greatest hits.
Well, we got whatever for that, so I guess.
I was never a fan of the Carpenters, but I will admit that she had an amazing voice.
She did.
It just wasn't mine.
You guys need something, Joshua?
No,
I have a crib.
I think she's about to go feed him and keep him from squirming.
Okay. We do have a crib, though, if you need one.
He doesn't
He
even
won't.
sleep in his own crib.
Okay, he won't. I got it. I got it. He won't. I got it. Yeah.
Any other stories before we close this off? Until the speech. Can't wait for that.
Well, I guess we could do the. Does anyone want to tell the one time we saw Chuck lose his temper? I mean, I was trying to think of it.
Did that ever happen?
Does everyone know that story?
must have been on
Maybe
the
we should
retreat.
do the 7 set. What is it? Tell it from 4 different points of view. Okay, everyone has to tell that same story from their point of view.
Who's gonna go first?
know what we're talking about?
No.
Chuck
Grandfather
doesn't know.
Mountain.
Grandfather Mountain. Robin knows. Emily knows.
Oh, yes, I remember.
You don't know. Okay.
I remember.
I have a
Do you want to
terrible
start,
memory
Paula?
though.
No, you start.
No, because
It wasn't, unless you were watching, no one would have got it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
But we were watching. Your wife and your bosses were watching.
I need to hear this. I don't remember it. Was I there?
No, you weren't there.
Okay.
Okay, Chuck and Bill were trying to move a table.
A table or yeah, it was a table.
Or put 2 tables
Yeah.
together or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
And so,
So it was at a company retreat.
yes, it was a retreat.
And we went up on Grandfather Mountain. It's ringing a bell now, right?
Yeah.
And so we stopped at a picnic area for some reason, maybe to have our Sunday morning devotions. I think we're going to have devotions. I think Chuck was leading devotions.
It's always that way.
This is
isn't
your
it?
story.
Somebody was leading devotions. Yeah. All right.
So, and y'all worked side by side in the
And we
office.
never argued.
But you wanted to.
Except
No.
we heard.
I'll have to argue with that one after this.
And so they were trying to line up the picnic tables. And so Chuck said, we're going to move this in like this and this. And Bill goes, no, you need to do it like this and this. So
Yeah.
Chuck said, drop the table and said, okay, do it yourself.
Yeah. He's like,
I don't remember that.
see, what I want to hear is the background story to what led Chuck to lose his temper with Bill because,
I can add to that one.
okay.
Because Bill did his best, because he knew it was very difficult, to get his goat.
That's what I assumed.
He would do his best, and it would happen sometimes.
The paper towel roll.
Oh,
That should feed from the underneath.
yeah, that was backwards.
Yeah.
That was backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't allow that either. I always switched it when he
If there
put
was
it
a
that
table,
way.
if there was a table here, I'd bang my fist because that was Bill.
After Bill left, I kept doing that just to mess with Chuck.
And it messed with me, and it messed with me too because I kept switching it back.
But back
Well,
to
we
the table.
kind of knew some of this was going on. I mean, we don't really. We're never comes and talks to us. So, so
Tom was back there. Who cares?
Go on, children.
Just keep working.
So there was a time when we would buy a fun Christmas toy for every Christmas office party.
Oh, you're talking about the wheel thing.
Well, we
yeah.
did a lot of different things, but there was one year we purposely
Robots.
Yeah, we thought, okay, wouldn't it be fun to have 2 teams and make Chuck and Bill work on the same team, and then I'll be on the other team, and we'll have a race to see who can put. So we bought these Lego dinosaur
I
mechanical connects things. They were battery powered, and they actually would move and do all this stuff. So.
We're supposed to have a fight on the table, right?
Yeah. It was like a little,
That was a contest at
little
the end.
robotic, kind of
Yeah.
robotic dinosaurs. Yeah. So yeah, and it was kind of delightful to watch Bill and Chuck were on the same team trying to put together a robotic
I don't remember
dinosaur.
if we got it built or not.
So where's Bill tonight?
You did lose.
They're in
Well, our
Florida.
team
They're
came
in
first.
Florida.
I remember
Of
that.
course.
So you sabotaged our team.
Well, yeah. That's like,
Well, I remember
Bill.
Bill. This is becoming a Bill roast, not a Chuck roast. But do you remember the one with the balls that came up? You had to build the structure to make the balls go up and then roll down and all that
was
stuff.
like another-
And it got so bad that we started tearing apart the instructions to give different people different instructions.
yeah, because we all built it in.
Because
separate
everybody
modules.
was.
Dave was probably on the same team as me.
Oh, oh my
Those were
God.
our team building exercises.
Oh, yeah.
We heard about that. Like,
Let's see who survives this
Oh my gosh.
challenge.
Oh my gosh.
Let's hope Bill isn't on Facebook since John is recording all of this.
well,
He had a
It's kind
chance
of
to
his
come
own-
and speak
yeah,
for
really.
himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's his own.
He can respond in the comments.
Yeah.
He might not miss the next one.
Henry?
He doesn't like the grass very much. I don't
He
think.
doesn't like the
I think
grass.
it's too pokey.
Pokey grass.
He doesn't like to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, except he was dragging his leg across concrete earlier today, so I don't really know.
That's
Yeah,
not
right.
good either.
I told somebody here that you need to get some leather and sew it to his pant leg
Yeah.
and
Chaps.
for his shoes.
Just do
Yeah.
some chaps.
Yeah.
Looks like he already has like a callus along his whole
He's
leg.
not sure what the grass is
Yeah.
until
Until he
he,
tastes it.
oh, he found a leaf.
That's
I
for
mean, we have
sure.
lots of blankets. Yeah, if you want to put them on a
was one?
blanket.
Yeah, he's
Find one real quick.
No, Josh did this one.
He's more dirty.
He likes to explore.
Any other stories? Last chance. Forever hold your peace.
I think the daughter or the son would be in a couple interesting stories.
I think I told my only
I
interesting
know.
one.
I'll have to think about it. If I come up with something, I will.
So really, what the Chuck we knew that was bland at the office is really how he was at home too.
There's a little bit more spirit at home, I think.
He had his moments.
He did have a very interesting philosophy when it came to Robin.
What?
I'm backing up on this one.
He did.
Time.
He said, pretty much, I remember him calling about getting some money, calling Robin about getting some money.
Probably
And
brought you lunch.
he says, she handles that. And I said, really? You don't just have money? Oh, no, I don't have money. And he said, the smartest thing I ever did was making sure that she's the boss. And he said that.
No, I didn't say the boss.
No, you said the boss. That time you said the boss.
I did tell her that when we bought the new house, or we built the new house, that it was her house. And I had
I remember you
the
telling that, yeah.
So whenever we had a decision to make,
Picking things out.
if she liked it and I didn't, I told her so.
Yeah.
We did something else.
Yeah.
But if she liked it, she's going to be there twice as long as I'm going to be there.
Sure.
Every day.
I agree. I agree because you're so much younger and you just love Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
So
One day it will happen to you too, Jay.
That is an inside joke.
Chuck picked out one thing in our house.
What was that?
Uh-oh.
He picked out the master bathroom toilet
Okay.
because he wanted a taller one.
Okay. That
and
works.
where to put
Did
the...
he get a
Oh,
scepter as well?
and he picked out where to place the toilet paper roll.
I didn't want it
He
back here.
didn't want it to have
Oh,
to
yeah,
do
that's
this.
annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we put it forward on the wall right there.
I gotta see
There,
this.
Chuck.
Why would you put
Those
it
were
way
my
back
two
here?
decisions.
That's funny. That's funny.
That's what your job grade allowed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Well, we should probably move on
figure
to
we
the
did twice
next
as long as.
Yeah.
course because we don't want to keep our caterers here forever.